like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open your shut so the world can see. You're a beautiful pearl. Live your day like you mean it. And don't forget who you are. You're free to go anywhere. There's no distance too far. And I just can't get enough of your energy. I just can't get enough. You're the spark shining in the dark. Oh, 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 love.
Welcome to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. I'm so happy you're here. We are in season 2. How exciting. It Is What It Is a show. It's all about real people, real life stories, stories of adversity, overcoming those adversities, and inspiring others through sharing. So with that said, we're going to get into mitzvah time. What is a mitzvah? A mitzvah is doing a good deed. Now I'm going to tell you about a mitzvah that maybe they don't want me to tell you, but I'm going to tell you anyway. My father has been ill once again, and my parents are divorced, but my mother stepped forward, and my mother has been helping my father in so many ways. I mean, from shopping for him, cleaning for him, doing his laundry, visiting him in the hospital every day, and on and on and on. So I thank my mom. I look up to my mom. I am so amazed. It brings tears to my eyes to see how wonderful she's been to my dad. So that's a mitzvah, doing a good deed. Now, giveaway. We have a giveaway. It's my book, I Am. And this is a book all about the beauties of diversity. I wrote this book. I have 27 children that helped illustrate this book. And it's one of my 3 books that can be found on Amazon, but you can win this if you comment, like, and share. So comment, like, and share the show. You have a chance of winning this book. Now, when we come back from this commercial break, you're going to meet the world-renowned psychic medium, Chris George. So don't go anywhere. You're going to love my guest, Chris George. We'll see you after this commercial break.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermineathome.com or call 203-228-5007.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. We have psychic medium, actually world-renowned, I love that, world-renowned psychic medium, Chris George. Welcome, Chris, to the show. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am wonderful.
I'm looking forward to this.
Me too. Me too. I mean, I have another talk show host on my show. How cool is that?
I'm used to doing the interviews, and now I'm the interviewee. I like this.
You are gonna like this. Now I let you talk all about yourself.
Well, what do you want to know?
All right, we're gonna start from the beginning.
Okay.
All right. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up. I was actually born in Brooklyn, but I'm a Staten Islander. I lived in Staten Island since I believe I'm 8 years old. So I'm a Staten Islander through and through. I just came to Long Island the last, I think, 10 or 11 months.
What brought you to Long Island? Wink, wink.
A girl.
A beautiful girl.
Dawn Diggity, yes.
Dawn Diggity. I love it. I think I'm going to call her DD.
Well,
my new initials for her, DD.
Yeah, that could work too.
So let me ask you, I mean, you're a world-renowned psychic medium. At what age did you realize that you had this gift?
Well, when I realized it, I didn't realize it was a gift. I thought it was a curse. I was
Okay.
9 years old.
Right.
First time I saw a spirit, and it scared the hell out of me.
Really?
Oh yeah, scared the hell out of me. Really quick, back in the day, now I'm going to be 54, so we're talking about, I
Long
was
time
9
ago.
years old at the time.
Yeah,
so it's quite a
long
few
time
years.
ago.
Back
Kidding.
then, our radios, our stereos were like these big stereos that had
Yeah.
the top that came up like this.
Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
remember.
I was in my bedroom, and all of a sudden, the top on my stereo went up by itself.
Oh my God.
And my cousin, who lived downstairs, used to use my stereo. She had the record Meatloaf in there, and Bat Out of Hell started playing on my record player by itself.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? And I'm only 9 years old.
Yeah.
And then I see this thing come out of my stereo. I know this sounds crazy, but it's exactly how it happened. Kind of like form right in front of me. It turned out to be a girl who I later found out was a 16-year-old girl named Heather. She smiled at me and then just kind of like walked away and disappeared. And that's when it started.
Wow.
And from then it was just like a snowball effect. It was crazy.
So did you think that maybe you were dreaming, or did you think, I don't know?
No, I
You
never
knew
for
it.
a second thought I was crazy.
Right.
My parents, God bless them, because they really stood by me. But in the beginning, they hear me saying I'm seeing spirits and ghosts in the house. And
Right.
so they got nervous. They wanted
Sure.
to take me to a psychiatrist. I said, I am not crazy. And then one day, my father called Monsignor Andrew from St. Rita's Parish, and he said, Father, this is Tino. My father said his name, and the priest said, I'll never forget, Father Monsignor Andrew said, is this? And he said, my address. And my father's like, how did you know that? He goes, I just knew. He said, I'll be there at 12.
Oh,
Came
wow.
over to my house, walked through the house, went right to my bedroom, and said, there's a spirit here, but it's good. And that's when my parents immediately believed me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's, if you don't believe, some people need to touch and
Right.
the whole scientific, so that really helped them believe you and
Yeah,
validate it.
It definitely helped validate it, and then little things would happen. I would say things, and they would happen, and
Right.
it was very hard to dispute what was going on with me. So
Right. Wow, that's crazy. So, so your family was all right. Do you have brothers, sisters?
brother, 2 sisters have been my biggest supporters since
Wow.
day one.
How awesome is that?
Yeah. Well, listen, when we were younger, my sister Tracy was, if I was 9, she had to be 7, and then Danny had to be, I don't know, 5, no,
Okay.
maybe 4.
Okay.
Jamie, I don't believe, was born yet. So at first, they were terrified. They actually were sleeping in my parents' room every night, and so was I.
Like he's possessed.
But as I got older, and then
Yeah.
I came out as psychic medium Chris George like
Yeah.
20 years ago. They've been my biggest supporters, and they're
Yeah.
very proud of me. They support everything I do.
Yeah.
My whole family does. I'm lucky like that.
Yeah, very lucky.
Yeah.
Well, I see your mom in your videos. I
Yes,
love
Miss
it.
Daisy is,
Miss
everyone loves Miss
Daisy.
Daisy. See,
love
but
it.
you have to understand, back then, we're talking about over 40 years ago, okay? You couldn't be a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid and talk to the dead and not be
Right.
considered crazy.
Right.
All right, we're in way different times now.
Right.
Now, if you're 16 years old and you talk to the dead, you get your own television show. It's a big change. It's a big difference.
yeah.
So back then, I didn't want people to know what was going
Yeah.
on with me. Only my family knew. And believe it or not, I have friends from 40 years ago that, tell me, you know what, Chris, we knew something was off because you used to say crazy things all the time and then they would happen. And I don't remember doing that.
Right.
So I don't know. I've always been pretty supported.
Well, I was going to ask you about your social life. How did that affect your social life?
At first it didn't, and then dating has never been the easiest thing, especially for me because I lived in Staten Island. Staten Island is a very small place. Everybody knows
Right.
everybody. And if you date somebody there, everybody knows that person. So when I was single, it was very hard for me to date because people were dating me because of what I did for a living. Everybody wanted to date the psychic. They wanted all
Right.
psychic information and what
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't easy for me. So I started dating outside of Staten Island. You know, socially it
Right.
wasn't easy. You know, people would always say, "Do you see somebody around me? Does so and so have a message for me?" And I don't live my life psychically. You know, a lot of psychics. This is a big thing with me. A lot of older psychics. Now, I don't consider myself older. Okay, I'm going to be 54. I don't consider that older as a psychic. Older psychics, I'm talking about 65, 70, 75. All the older psychics. A lot of them are, you know, they're a little bit off. And the reason being is, and I'm not being disrespectful, but it's the truth.
Right.
The reason being is they live their life psychically 24/7. And they don't know how to shut it off. And they get caught in what I call the in-between or the shade. It's
Okay.
not here, it's not there, it's in between somewhere.
Yeah.
And I saw all these older psychics, and they were just like off. And I
Right,
said,
right,
you know what, I'm
right.
never going to be that guy. So when I'm out, I'm just Chris.
Yeah.
When it's time to work,
Does it ever?
I snap in
but
that
does
quick.
it ever? I mean, like basically hit you over the head. You know, I mean,
Yes.
do you ever walk into a place and say, "Oh my God," and then have to consciously tell yourself,
Yes,
shut it down?
many times. Many
Yeah.
times. There have been times where I remember one time we were going to Canada to my uncle's funeral, and we stopped at a rest stop, and me and my brother-in-law are walking into the bathroom, and I opened the door, and I said, "Oh, excuse me," and I pulled back and I let somebody pass, and my brother-in-law goes, "You just saw a spirit." And I'm like, "No," and and he caught me, but
Yeah.
stuff like that happened all the time to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Now it doesn't happen anymore because I'm at a point where, back in the day when I first started with all this,
Right.
I couldn't tell the difference between the living and the dead. Like there could be two
Wow.
spirits right next to
So
you.
there could be right, and you
and
would
I
not,
didn't know at
Wow.
times who was living and who was dead. You know, and I'd be talking to you.
Is there anybody next to me right
No, not right now. But
I
you
just
know,
have to ask. I'm like,
I had
hi.
to learn how to concentrate on you, knowing that when I got to the point where I could tell the difference.
Exactly.
And they'd be trying to talk to me, and I would have to,
Wow.
you know. And a lot of times I would find myself looking and then like mouthing words, and then I'd catch
Right,
myself.
right.
I'm like, oh my God, people are gonna think I'm
They're
crazy.
gonna think you're nuts.
I
right?
really wasn't crazy. It's
Right,
just,
right.
you know,
because other people don't see them.
Right.
So they're looking at you, talking to somebody that
and
they don't even see.
That's going to be the name of my book, Through My Eyes, because I see things
love
that other
it.
people don't see.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you said that you shut it down for a little while. So
I did. I shut it down for many years.
Why?
At 16 or so, maybe 17, I don't remember. Very simple. You know, I was a 16-year-old kid. I was a baseball star. I was a football star. I had scholarships. I had scouts looking at me. I had girlfriends. I was very popular. I couldn't be that cool, popular kid with girlfriends if I was
Right.
talking to the dead. Then I
Right.
became the freak.
Right,
And
right, sure.
I wasn't going to be that guy.
Yeah.
I was so focused on baseball that I didn't want to think about the other stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So I begged Spirit to I said, please, just let me just be me. And they did.
Yeah.
They did for a lot of years. And then my life kind of took a turn because I was supposed to play ball and I got hurt and I couldn't.
Yeah.
Then I went to the Air Force. And then I got out of the Air Force for whatever reason. Then when Spirit came back to me, all right, at the time I was married and I was in my living room and it had to be about 2 in the morning, maybe 2:30. I was watching Sports Center and I fell asleep. I wake up and there's about, I'm going to say, if I had to guess, 15 Spirit in front of me. But I didn't know
Wow.
that they were Spirit.
oh wow.
Because I couldn't see through them. I couldn't see my television.
Oh, wow.
That's how I saw them. I saw them as
Right.
like you and I.
Yeah.
And it scared the hell out of me. I'm like, I thought my family was under attack. But then I realized.
like
they
what
were
are these
from-
people doing in my house?
Yeah, and then I realized they were all from all different eras.
wow.
And I kind of like rubbed my eyes and I said, are you guys real? And I'll never forget, there was this one guy who seemed to be the leader. He was a short guy with a
Yeah.
big handlebar mustache, a big top hat, the coat. And he looked at me and he looked at everybody like, is this the guy we came to see? And I felt like such an idiot. And they turned, walked away, walked through my living room, through my dining room, down my steps into my basement and disappeared. And I couldn't even, honestly,
Wow.
I wound up having stomach issues. It scared the hell out of me. And then it happened again. And I remember saying to him, I said, are you guys really real? And he said to me, and I'll never forget this, he said, either you accept who you are, who and what you are, or we're going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And I said, yeah, okay. And I'm like, that attitude, isn't going to serve
Yeah,
you well.
right.
We're going to haunt you until you
Wow.
accept who you are.
Wow.
And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said to me, I'll never forget. He said, let me show you. And I had to make a decision in that moment. 15 Spirit or whatever it was
Yeah.
in my living room staring at me, this little guy looking at me, like peering down on me saying, make a decision. And I
Right.
said, okay, teach me. And he went, follow me. They turned, walked through my living room, through my dining room, down my steps. They followed him like he was the Pied Piper of the spirit world. And then the last one was a girl, and she had a Woodstock shirt on. And she looked at me, she smiled, and she went, I said, oh my God, am I really doing this? And I did.
Yeah.
And I went down that basement, and that was the day my life changed. Because they were like, it's time to go to school. And I'm like, I really don't like school. They're like, well, we really don't care. We're going to teach you. And everything I know now was taught to me by Spirit. Everything.
So let me ask you, why did they choose you?
I think they chose me because they knew I could handle it. I teach psychic development class, and then people come to me, they can't handle it. They might have a little something. It's not for everybody. You have to have the right mindset. You have to know you can do it, and knowing I could do it was the hard part.
Yeah,
that was the hard part. Figuring out that I really can do this. I'm pretty good, and it took me a while to get there, but I got there.
Of course. Wow. So you were ready to accept it at that point. You had no choice.
Well, I had no choice, but I did accept it, but sporadically. I wasn't ready to be psychic medium Chris George. I was just Chris.
Full-time.
I had my business. I was doing my business, and I wasn't doing any psychic stuff.
Right.
And then one day, I went to a seance from a world famous person who will remain nameless, and the truth was, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, this is a joke. This is not real.
What's a seance? Tell everybody what
a seance is. Well, the traditional seance is, they say you hold hands. You don't have to hold hands. A true medium doesn't have to hold anybody's hand. But when a medium goes into trance and actually becomes spirit.
Okay.
So when I went to this seance in Williamsburg in Brooklyn, at an old place, it was really awesome.
Yeah.
But it was fake. And I knew it was fake, and I was really disappointed, because I'm like, this is a world famous, whatever you want to call her, psychic, whatever, and that was a complete farce. It was fake. There was not one thing real about it, and it pissed me off. And I went home that night, and I remember my son had just been born. He was in the hospital for a month, my son. So I was home by myself. So my niece, her fiance, and another friend came to my house. They wanted to know what happened.
Right.
And I said it was a joke. I said, but I could do this. I said I could do what she was trying to do. I know I can, because the spirits like me. They respect me. I respect them, and there has to be mutual respect. That's why they call me the Godfather of psychic mediums, because it's all about respect. I said I could do this, and they were like, well, how do you know? I said, just let's go downstairs in the basement. Let's put the table out. Let me try it. And the next thing I remember was 2 hours later, I opened my eyes, which I didn't realize were closed, and everybody is crying, even the fiance, who was a real manly man. And I'm like, what happened? They were like, what do you mean what happened? I said, I have no recollection of anything.
Wow.
They were like, you were in trance for 2 hours. You channeled like whatever it was, 7 spirits.
Wow.
And I had no recollection of it.
Oh, I can't wait to do one.
And then that became the thing. The big thing in Georgetown was seance night at Chris's house. And every Saturday night I'd have anywhere from 10 to 25 people in my basement, and I was doing seances every night, and that's how I became known.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good stopping point
Okay.
for this episode, for this segment, and we're going to come right back. So don't go anywhere, because we have so much more from psychic medium Chris George. Be right back after this commercial break.
Do you or a loved one need the care of a nursing home? A vibrant community to call home, where there are healthcare professionals available 24/7? Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, located in New Milford, Connecticut, has been offering award-winning care for over 40 years. Whether you are rehabilitating from a cardiac procedure or hip replacement, or seeking a place for your loved one to live where he or she can receive top-notch health care, our team is at the ready. We also accept veteran benefits and offer a special secure memory care unit for residents with Alzheimer's or cognitive-related conditions. Call us at 860-355-0971. Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, a place to heal and thrive. Ballas Associates, sales, service, and support for all your computer and PC networking needs. Whether it's wired or wireless, upgrades or repairs, backup or disaster recovery, we can provide the solutions to all your PC needs. No need to get frustrated. You know a guy. Just call Ballas Associates at 203-792-2300. That's 203-792-2300. Or visit them online at ballasassociates.com.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Saville. We have psychic medium Chris George here today. So, Chris, we got more questions. I have more questions.
I'm loving this. Bring it on, girl.
All right. You know I can.
I know you can.
So, can you tell everybody exactly what is a psychic medium?
Well, a psychic medium is somebody who gets messages from the other side and connects with the other side. I'm what's known as a trance medium because I can actually channel the spirits. I'm a trance channel.
Okay.
I actually can bring the spirits into me and become them. So there's different types of mediums.
So this
I'm a
is kind of like
trance
that
channel.
movie.
Well,
right?
it's like
What's that movie?
Oda Mae Brown. It's with what was the movie with Patrick Swayze? Ghost.
Yeah.
That is the closest to me that I've seen
Wow.
to what I do. And like the scene where people are trying to get in and she's like, take a number.
Yeah.
When I do a seance, it's kind of like that.
I would love to see that. Do you ever do? I know you do classes. Do you do?
I do classes. I haven't done seances in a while, but what I do is when I do my events, like at the Haunted Hotel,
Yes.
I do a lot of channeling,
I'll be
which is
there.
basically like a seance.
I'll be there. I'm going to give you the money
Okay.
today. So when you, well, you actually answered this question. When you walk into a room, I mean, do you always see and hear dead people?
No,
So,
no,
right.
I don't, because I won't allow myself to.
Yeah, which is great.
Because I would go crazy, and
Absolutely.
I can't be,
Yeah.
me if I'm crazy. I can't do what I do if I'm crazy.
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
be that guy.
And you're right, because I remember years ago, I was on this date, and we went to this restaurant, and we go downstairs, and it was still kind of new to me, because I have my own psychic medium, definitely not as advanced as yours.
Right.
And we go into this basement, and it had that haunted feel, with stone, everywhere. And in the basement was where the band was,
Right.
and the bar and everything. So he went up to get himself a drink, and I'm sitting there, and I'm listening to the music, and I happen to turn to my right, and I see this man, like apparition of a man, but I saw a man, and he was laughing and enjoying the music, and a top hat. He looked like a banker,
Okay.
and all dressed sharp. And he gets up from the table, sitting by himself, and he's sitting there. I remember seeing him like smile and dance, and laugh, and he gets up and he walks through the wall.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yes, I've seen stuff like that as well, but I try to shut that off because it alters the whole event for me,
Yeah.
because then I get focused on that. I went to a wedding one time at Oheka Castle in out here in Long Island, and at the end of the wedding, we were all in a cigar room, and there were actual spirits smoking cigars
my
with
God.
us, and it was the coolest thing I ever saw.
could you see the smoke?
I saw the smoke,
Oh my God.
and that just blew me away.
That's
it was
wild.
awesome.
Well, do you know, after like 5 years later, I mean, I was only with the guy for a short time, and that was actually just before I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I dumped him. But after 5 years later, they actually did a ghost hunting.
What place is it?
It's called Twisted Vine in Derby, Connecticut.
I don't know it.
And it's haunted. And who's it haunted by? A banker.
Well, there you go.
I
Well,
saw
you
the
him.
banker. I was validated. It was like the
that's
coolest
a validation, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of haunted venues. When I was on the Maury Povich show, I used to go to I
loved
the
him.
psychic. I was a psychic investigator for the show. I did
wow.
five shows with them.
Oh, wow.
And I've been to some amazing places, and there's so many fun haunted places in New
Yes.
York and New Jersey and Connecticut and all over
Yeah.
the place.
Oh, yeah. So you mentioned that you like cleansing. So what is that? You go in and you...
Well, like if we go into a place and there's like a lot of negative energy, well, I just
Yeah.
do a clearing. It's very simple. I call on Archangel Michael, who's the great protector, and Archangel
Yeah.
Raphael, who's the great healer, and I call on them to come down and just basically protect everybody. It's like a little bit of a ritual.
Yeah.
Very simple to do, but I think it's important to be clear. Like,
It is.
have you ever noticed? For a lot of married people, a lot of people that date, they're out and about, they're having a great time. They come
Yeah.
home, they start fighting. They start fighting because there's a lot of energetic imprints left in
Right.
the home, and it
Right.
affects them. So you've got to clear the home. And there's a very, there's a way to do it with either sage or orange peel or Palo Santo or dragon's blood, whatever you want to use. I prefer orange peel more than anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all that other stuff cleanses on this level, which is fine. Orange peel cleanses on this level and the next. It's a big feng shui thing, which I didn't believe when I first learned about it about 15 years ago. But my mentor said, go clear a room with sage and then go clear another room with orange peel, and you let me know which is clearer. And there was no
I
comparison.
love the smell of orange peel.
Yeah, orange peel's nice.
It is. It is. So how many would you say you've done of these cleansings? You've done a lot, right?
Well, cleansings, are you talking about spirit removal or
Maybe that's what I'm
clearings?
talking
okay,
about.
I've done a lot of clearings,
Yes.
but spirit removal, that's a whole nother level
Okay,
of
that-
stuff.
that's what I'm
I've done
thinking of.
103 of them.
100. Wow. And you've gone all over the world.
Yes, I've been to England, I've been to Spain, I've been to Mexico City, I've been to Canada, I've been to all over America.
Tell us like one of your
California.
favorite stories.
About that?
Yeah.
God, there's so many of them. And the thing is, like, if I tell it, unless people see it, it's like they don't believe it. Because some of it is so...
Yeah.
It's not like the movie The Exorcist. My head
Okay.
doesn't spin.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't, spit out green stuff. I have been known to spit at people, but, when I have spirit in me...
Yeah.
There's so many of them. I mean, for me to pick
Okay.
one would be almost impossible, really. But
Right.
but I'll tell you this: what I used to do is, people always want to see them.
Yeah.
They want to watch them. I videotape. I did videotape probably 70 or 80 of them.
Oh, wow.
So maybe one day I'll have a little,
A viewing.
a little viewing night, and
I would-
we'll look at a few.
At the next
You can
pajama
actually
party.
on YouTube. If you look up psychic medium Chris George,
Yeah.
you'll actually see me channeling spirit during an exorcism, during a spirit
wow.
removal.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
if you look it up, you'll find
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Well, I've taken classes with you, and I've been read by you,
Yep.
and you're really amazing. You are the best
thank you.
psychic I've ever been. I've been read by a lot of
appreciate that.
psychics over the years, and incredible. What you
I
gave me in
appreciate
30
that.
minutes was more than most people gave me.
Well, that's my thing. People say, why do you only do 30-minute readings? I'm like, well, first of all, I talk fast. Second of all, I
Yeah.
connect immediately. And
Yes.
third of all, I'm going to give you more than 30 minutes than I know anybody will give you in an hour. So
Yeah, exactly.
why charge you for an hour when I could give it to you for
Exactly.
a half hour?
No, you
I don't
do.
rob people.
I was writing
very-
everything down,
Yeah. You have to.
and I saved my notes.
Yeah, because I talk fast.
Yeah.
And I want to give people as much as I possibly can.
Yes. So, how often do you give readings?
I do up to 30 readings a week,
Wow. Okay.
depending on the week. There could be 10, there could be 30.
You do them virtually now?
Everything is virtual.
Yeah.
The only time I do in-person readings is if I'm in Staten Island and it's an old customer. Well,
Yeah.
all my clients are. I've been reading them for 20 years. So,
Yeah.
But pretty much everything is done either on WhatsApp or Facebook, Instant
Yeah.
Messenger, FaceTime. Everything is on FaceTime.
Yeah. It's incredible that I know that I sent you pictures beforehand about people that I wanted to
Right.
ask you about, and but it's just incredible that you can read people that way. Now,
Yeah.
let me.
One thing, somebody actually asked me today is, do you read somebody the same way in person as,
Good question. Yeah.
virtual?
Yeah.
I said, for me, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You connect with them, right? So
Quick.
whether it's in person or it's I mean, you're looking. It's not like you're not looking at them. You know,
As soon as we go on FaceTime, I see their
Yeah.
face. I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
on it. That
Yeah.
quick.
No, you had everything down. I mean, I think you asked me, how did I do? And I said, you did like 200%. Like you had everything.
I asked you that. I don't ask that to people. I
Okay.
asked you that because I knew you had the show, and
Yeah.
and I was going to be doing a show here, and we
Yeah.
were starting to run with the same people. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you did amazing.
Thank you. I
amazing.
appreciate that.
I mean, I brought my daughter to take the class with you because
And she
I
was a
so
sweetheart.
impressed. Yeah, she's good, isn't she?
Yes.
She's good.
I think she's got a gift. I would
Yeah.
love. She needs to come back.
She will. Oh, she
Good.
wants to. She wants to. So what kind of, you mentioned some of the events that you do. I know you're doing the haunted.
I'm doing the Haunted
Hotel.
Shanley Hotel December 10th. It's up in Napanock, New York.
So what do you
It'll-
do with the haunted?
Okay, so this will be my 17th investigation
God.
there. And people come from all over the country, from all the way from California, from Florida, from Massachusetts, just to spend Connecticut, Buffalo, just to spend one night with me at this hotel.
Wow.
This hotel has been on every paranormal show that's been that's on television, every one of them. And what I do is
Are they the same owners? I mean,
no,
all
it's a
this-
new owner. The owner,
Okay.
Sal, passed away a few years ago,
Okay.
and now somebody else owns it, and she's wonderful, wonderful. And what I do is I do a thing called psychic poker. It's not really poker. I get like 8 decks of, oracle cards, and I read them all at the same time. I don't read one card. I'm not a tarot reader. I read
Right.
8 of them, 10 of them sometimes, just depending on how big my table
I've
is.
seen you do that.
Right.
That's
so
incredible.
everyone gets readings from me. Then my guy is Tom Galissi. He's a paranormal investigator, absolutely phenomenal at what he does. He's always my guest paranormal guy. And then what we do is we break up into groups and we do actual investigating with all our equipment and stuff
Right.
like that. I channel spirits,
Wow.
and then I give some more readings. It's just a phenomenal night. It's an overnight thing. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, this I think is my 16th, maybe 17th time doing it.
Wow.
I've done many.
So you do meet and greets and
Yes, we just did a meet and greet, which was a pajama party,
Yeah.
which was more fun. Nothing psychic,
Yeah.
just a party. 'Cause I have on Facebook, I have a group called Spiritual Gangsters, and every year I do a meet and greet where we all get together and just have a good time,
Fun.
just to get out of the house and have fun.
Absolutely.
And it was awesome this year.
And it's nice, it's kind of bonding. I
Yeah.
mean, people have the same interests,
What I love is that on Facebook you could be whoever you want.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fake book
It's so
for a
true.
lot of
It's
people.
so- it's
and
so
then when
true.
these people come to the event,
Right.
there's no faking. Now you're seeing
Right.
them in person and you get to meet
Right.
real people, and it's a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I wish I could have been there.
Next year.
I will, yeah. I mean, I have my own event, but next year we'll make sure they're on different days. So let me ask you, do you use, I personally love crystals and pendulums.
Love them too. I
Okay.
teach class on pendulums.
Well, I'm going to have to take it.
Mm-hmm.
I know the basics. So, and it really works. I mean,
It
wow.
works if you don't manipulate it. Yes, it does work.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible how the way I do it, yes, no's, it's just so accurate. But it's not accurate for me. I
Okay.
can't ask questions about myself.
You want to know why? Because it's you. You're using your higher conscious, and a lot of times, without you realizing
Yeah.
it, when you ask a question for you, it's going to tell you what you want to hear most of
Okay.
the time.
Okay,
That's
that's
why
fine.
until you get really good at it, you shouldn't try to read yourself with them because a lot of times you're going to get false
Right.
stuff. But
Right.
reading for other people is a lot easier.
I used to have a tanning salon
Mm-hmm.
called Mystique Boutique and Tanning, and I called it Mystique because of the whole mystical part of it,
Mm-hmm.
of my life and my interests. And so I had a store in there, and I used to bring psychic mediums in, and I used to read for people.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And yeah, and just for fun, and I would bring the professionals in,
Right.
to read and have events and stuff. And I always use the pendulum. I love the pendulum, and it was always right for
Pendulums
others.
are fun. Another
Yeah.
thing another thing that's fun is dowsing rods. It's the 2 rods, and
Yeah,
you can
I've
make
seen
them
those.
cross and whatever. They're a lot of fun to use. I teach class with that too. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's a lot of things you could do if you're not a psychic. Okay, you could get a pendulum.
Yeah.
You can get dowsing rods. You could use a candle. You light a candle in a room where there's no
Yeah,
wind,
yeah.
and say, "If there's spirit here, could you raise the flame for me?" And you'll see the flame raised.
wow.
If it's a yes, go to the left. If it's a no, go to the right. And once you connect with a spirit that
Right.
wants to talk to you, it'll start working for you, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, you
And
do
don't
the
have to
whole
be-
smoke thing. What is that?
That's called smoke scrying. What I do is I ask spirit to show me, an owl.
Okay.
Or show me the spirit of a woman that, in a Victorian dress.
Yeah.
And then I light my cigar and I blow the smoke in the air and I take a picture of the smoke. And then I post it on Facebook and
Yeah.
I tell people, what do you see? And people see a lot of different things, and
Right.
that's okay.
Right.
But a lot of times, like what I ask for,
Yeah.
people will actually see, and I don't tell them what it is.
Wow.
So it's a lot of, that's another paranormal technique. It's called
Yeah.
smoke scrying. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's wild. I know there's like coffee grounds and
Coffee grinds, I don't do that. I'm not a big believer in it,
Yeah.
but I know that there are people that do that. I'm not one of them.
Yeah. So well, we're going to come right back. We're
Okay.
going to go to another commercial break, but I want you to talk all about your talk show.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. So
Sounds good.
Don't go anywhere. More from Chris George when we come back. Psychic medium Chris George. We'll see you after this commercial break.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermindathome.com or call 203-228-5007. Do you or a loved one need the care of a nursing home? A vibrant community to call home where there are healthcare professionals available 24/7? Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, located in New Milford, Connecticut, has been offering award-winning care for over 40 years. Whether you are rehabilitating from a cardiac procedure or hip replacement, or seeking a place for your loved one to live where he or she can receive top-notch health care, our team is at the ready. We also accept veteran benefits and offer a special secure memory care unit for residents with Alzheimer's or cognitive-related conditions. Call us at 860-355-0971. Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, a place to heal and thrive.
Hey there! I'm Captain Splish. I'm the superhero swimming. I'll teach you to be water safe with all my swimming skills, along with all my singular friends here in Splish Splashville. Myrtle the turtle, Octi the octopus, Starry the starfish, and that's just a few. You'll learn all about what your body can do. My superpower is to teach with song and rhyme, and that helps you remember what you learn every time. You'll learn to float and you'll learn to swim, from blowing bubbles to jumping in. Each week, you'll learn something new. You'll be amazed at what your body can do. I'm so excited for you to see the show, but now Captain Splash has to go. See you soon. Bye.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. Now, we have another guest here for you today. In addition to psychic medium Chris George, we have his beautiful girlfriend called Dawn Diggity. So, Dawn Diggity and Chris George. How are you, Dawn?
I'm good.
Than's for joining us.
Thank you for
happy you're
having me.
here. I'm happy you're here.
Oh, thank you.
I just love you.
Aw,
I just
love
do.
you
I love
too.
her.
You're allowed
know.
to.
I do.
I kind of dig it too.
I think you do. So tell me how you guys met, because this is quite a story.
She, well, actually, it's your story, so why don't you start it and then I'll tell the truth.
A friend of mine wanted to connect with her deceased father, and she said, "Can you find me a psychic medium?" I said, "I don't know." And he's like, she thought I had him in my Rolodex, and I said, I went online and I said, I found one. However, he's from Staten Island. We're in Long Island. That's a completely different island. I don't know if but I said, if you want, I'll go with you. We'll go see him. You know, he's cute. I'll just sit there with you. You know, at least it's something to look at. And she said, no, please just do me a favor. I need to know if he's the real deal. Just get a reading by him to see first. I said, okay. So I basically booked a Zoom meeting because we were during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was reading like 15 people, and she was in there. And go ahead, because I know you're gonna exaggerate.
So he basically in the beginning said that if you ask a question, sometimes I might not answer the actual question. I might just tell you what spirit is.
Because
you know,
the cards are telling me something else.
right.
That's why I said.
But we could all tell, like, how he was already, you know, like crushing on me. I would say, is
Of
my
course
job
he
secure?
was.
And he'd be like, are you dating anyone? And I'm like, well, like,
I did say
So-
that, but
Wait a minute, don't you know these answers?
I told us that by August she was going to, find the one basically, and I didn't realize it was me. But the truth is, after that, that psychic thing I did, I couldn't keep her out of my inbox.
yeah. He then liked a really bad photo of mine from
was
like
a
2
bad
years
photo.
ago, and I was like, oh, he's stalking me. He likes me. But I just thought, you know what? He's on the wrong island. How is that ever going to work?
Yeah.
Our first date was at the Haunted Hotel.
It was.
See, that's
was
the
our
story.
first
I
date.
love that.
So every July when we go back, it's like our anniversary.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So I get to check out the hotel where your first date was.
Yes.
How do you have a first date at a hotel?
I know, crazy.
I did have a second date at a hotel once, but don't tell anybody that.
So did we.
That was it wasn't our initial meeting. So he invited me to a cigar night at his house one night.
I used to have cigar night every Tuesday with my friends in Staten Island. I'd get, I don't know, 10, 15 people in my yard. We'd have hot dogs. We'd drink
Fun.
wine and shots and beer, whatever, and just have a night
Yeah.
and smoke cigars with our friends. It was our thing in Staten Island that we always did. And I invited her.
And he invited me and one of his fans also in Long Island. I said, oh, that's great. I don't know anyone. I just moved out here. She lives 10 minutes from me. We'll carpool and we'll go together. So driving there was interesting because she was telling me, like he's kind of a little bit of a ladies' man. I was like, really? I don't get that impression. And then at the same time, I was like, you know what? Oh well, we'll see what happens. Like
Right.
we'll go. I'm going to get a hot dog, and if it's bad, I'm going to turn around and we're going to go. I'm going to eat something, and then we're going to go home. Because this is a long trek. It took
Yeah.
us 4 hours to go.
Wow.
So never did I think.
I'm gonna jump to the punchline here.
Okay.
So as she walked up to my house, I met them in my driveway.
Right.
And I immediately gave her a kiss right on the lips. Did I not?
Oh.
I actually kissed him,
That's
but
a
that's
lie.
cute that he wants to say that.
Not
I really
true.
went in right away and figured, let me just claim my territory because I don't know who else is here, so
Right.
I'll just make it known right away. And,
Well, the girl with you that went with you, did she have the hots for you or no?
I mean, I think everyone pretty much had the
Everyone
hots
did.
for him
I
because
can't answer that.
single Chris is very different from in a relationship, and I think people she was like, oh, he's very flirtatious, and I was like, I don't see that, or I guess I really wasn't looking
Right.
online.
Right.
So I was like, oh, maybe, but I said to her, I really like him. We've been talking,
Yeah.
and she didn't
I'm very
really
likable.
quite
That was brave
understand.
of you. That was brave
I
of
know.
you to go.
It
It was
really
very
was,
brave of her to
right?
come. And it was even
She must
braver
have really
for her
liked
to
you.
come to the hotel by herself. She met me there.
Yeah.
That was the
did.
first time we were like on a real date. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And by yourself, wow.
Yeah, it took a lot of guts, and she did it.
So how long you been together?
Over 2 years now.
Yeah.
Also, good amount of time. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
July was 2 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
it feels like 20, but a little over 2.
22.
You guys crack me up. I have to tell you, I've gotten to know you two pretty well, and you really.
Well,
make
you've
me
been to the house and everything, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you make me laugh. I watch the two of you interact. I watch you on your talk show. So
Oh.
tell us a little bit about your talk show. You have one right here at Strong Island.
Yes, we
we
do.
do.
It's called Vision
Vision
Quest.
Quest.
And listen, I've been doing television and radio for many, many years. I had a television show in Staten Island for 2 years, and I had a radio show for over 10 years, and it was a very big show.
Millions. Didn't you have millions of people?
I topped out at over 2 million, but I was,
Wow.
routinely in like the 1.5 million
Okay.
range. Okay, but still, that's
That's
a tremendous
incredible.
show.
Yeah.
And then I stopped doing it because I felt like I was being taken advantage of, and I stopped doing it.
Yeah.
So just recently, I started going live on Facebook again and doing kind of like a show, giving readings and stuff like that, and people were loving it. And then I said, you know what? Why don't we do a show on Strong Island? And I said, Diggity, you could be my co-host. Although she thinks she's the host and I'm the co-host, that's a whole nother
She
story.
does have a lot of fans.
She got a lot of fans. It's because
Yeah.
she's pretty and she's, look
Yeah,
at her.
I mean,
And
he
funny.
came to me and said,
Not that funny.
please. He practically begged me to
No,
do
I
the
did
show.
not.
And he said, I need a star. And I at that point, I couldn't
Oh,
turn him
God.
down. So I said, okay,
I really
I'll
don't know
do
what to
it.
do with her. I'm telling you, you give her a
Right.
co-host spot and her head goes from this to this.
I mean, originally I wanted to just be behind the scenes and feed him the funny things, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
You're
you know,
not as
but
funny as you
in
think.
case he doesn't
she can't
do
even fit
the
through the door with
delivery,
her head now.
I said, you know what, that's fine. I'll do this to bring him to where he needs to be,
I'm
and
going to tell you something
then
crazy. We were out
then I'll
one
take
day.
a step back.
Yeah, step back, huh? I see. So we went out one day, and she actually got recognized. Well, I got recognized, okay, in a place out here in Long Island. Nobody really knows
shopping.
me yet. We were shopping,
Right.
And then they said, "Is Dawn Diggity here too?" I was like, "Oh
I turned
God."
the corner
You
with the
see?
shopping cart, and it was just the cutest thing.
Yeah.
The person was like so excited to meet me.
see?
And there I was like, oh, this
True.
is not, I'm thinking I'll never see anybody I know. Being that
yeah.
he's from Staten Island, we're now in Long Island. I
Right.
was like, I could go out without makeup, my hair up. Like, who's going to recognize me? And the woman did. And I was like, oh my God. Thank God she didn't ask for a picture. That was
She
dead.
asked for one with me.
She did.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, how does it work being a psychic medium in your relationship? I mean, you totally leave it out of your relationship? Because I know we talked about other, typical relationships.
I
but
try to, but she, like, I feel like I'm out, she pulls me back in, because she's always trying to get psychic stuff out of me.
Yeah,
Always.
Well,
she should get the
Hey,
perks.
what do you always say?
I don't get psychic perks.
You
I've
should get
I've
the
gotten a
perks.
few here and there.
That's hurtful. You tell them right now what I did for you.
He did.
With the backyard. You come on.
He did give
Give
me
me some
one
props.
perk, but
This is a good story.
It's a
I
good
had a
story.
leak in my backyard, and
Yeah.
we couldn't find where it was
No,
coming
we didn't
from.
know that there was a leak. We didn't.
No, we did. I got a $1,000 water bill
Okay.
from the
Okay.
town, so we knew
Okay.
we had a leak, but we didn't know
Okay.
where. And
That's
I
true.
literally was like, okay, so what are we supposed to do? Unless water is leaking somewhere, how are we supposed to know where there's a leak?
Right.
And
Can I
one
take over?
day, I don't know, this is my time. So literally, well, I'll let you take over in a second. We were in the house and we're looking outside the yard, and he's like, who are those two guys in my backyard? So, and I'm like, what is he talking about? Now, I'm not thinking that he's talking,
Yeah.
seeing dead people. So he goes out running in the yard. So I'm like going to grab a bat because I'm thinking like, who's
It's
going to be
real-
like,
yeah.
the protection here. So I went to go grab a bat,
And these two
so-
guys looked down and went like this to me. I looked down and I see water coming out of the ground.
Oh my God.
These spirits showed me the leak, and when she came out, I'm like, that's where the leak is.
It was under a rug too. So
Oh my
never
God.
would we had
Right.
known, and then basically he came and he said, Spirit said there's a leak here. And I lifted up the rug and then I said, okay, there's a leak here.
Wow.
So I
You
guess
see?
you had to hire people to come to
and
break.
she says she doesn't get any perks.
But that's my only perk.
That was a big
You know what I
perk.
mean? I want more.
I know.
I
I don't
feel like I
blame
should
you.
have a
One
lot
a
more
day.
than just
One a
that.
day.
Didn't I give you a mother to pick 3 one time?
No. That was one of, a client. You give a lot of clients
Pick three
numbers.
sounds like lottery.
It is.
It is.
I've
you
given,
did.
I've given
Okay.
quite a few people pick
Tell
3
us
and
about
pick 4.
numbers. Yes, you've given numbers
I don't
out.
get them often, but sometimes they pop
Yeah.
in my head. And when I tell somebody to play the number, I tell them to play it straight in box for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody I've ever given a number to,
Yeah.
in that 7 weeks, it's hit.
Yeah.
My favorite is my niece, my ex-niece, went to Atlantic City and said, Uncle Chris, you got something for me? And I told her to play whatever it was,
Right.
22, whatever it was.
Right.
And she hit 7 times on 22 on
Oh
roulette.
my God. Oh my God.
7 times.
See, we went to the casino. He didn't give me that number.
didn't
He
come to
knew
me.
which machines were hot, though. Let me just tell you. He sat down.
Did I win?
And he won every machine.
Really?
And I was like, why can't you tell me which machine?
It's-
I'll share in the wealth.
It wouldn't be ethical.
You know? I mean, we need new bricks around the
love
pool.
it.
I
This
was
is
just
true.
thinking
I love
to
it.
myself, if you tell me where it is.
She's out of control. She's
You know.
out of control.
How often do you air your show?
It's every 2 weeks. So
Every 2 weeks.
this month it'll be the 16th and the 26th maybe. I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, I can't think of the dates. Next show will be not this Wednesday, the following Wednesday. I don't know what that show's going to be. 2 weeks after that, I have a psychotherapist coming on, past life regressionist.
Oh, wow.
She's going to be really interesting.
And you just had a numerologist on, right?
Yes, world famous numerologist
Yeah.
Michelle Arbeau. She's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
I
good-
finally got a reading.
Yeah.
It was great.
And it was
Yeah.
it was on the point, right?
She was on the money. Yeah, she really was.
Yeah.
So
Do you find that everybody always asks you for,
Yes.
right? And it's got to be,
It depends. Like my
Right.
friends really don't. My true friends.
Yeah.
They very rarely ask me for anything unless it's an emergency,
Right.
and they know they have carte blanche to ask me anytime. My
Right.
core friends.
What about
I
me?
don't. Well, of course you. But what gets me sometimes is like there are a lot of people I'm big on Facebook. I do
Yeah.
everything on Facebook. You know, TikTok as well, but mostly Facebook.
yeah.
And people that really don't know me will send me questions all the time, and I'm like, if I don't answer them, then they get mad. They're like, you're this, you're that. How dare you?
Right.
You're really rude. I'm like, I'm rude. I said, this is what I do for a living. So you want me to take time out of my day while I'm working
Yeah.
to answer your 3 or 4 questions? It don't work that way. Get a
Right.
reading.
Right,
You know,
right.
and it's that kind of gets to me.
Taking advantage, yeah.
And the thing is, it's when they're rude to me
Yeah.
and saying that I'm being rude by not answering them. That bothers me because I'm
Right.
not rude to anybody.
No.
He's not.
I'm not
No,
rude to
I know.
anybody.
he really
know?
does try to answer everybody. And
I do.
No, even on your lives, I know you really do.
I try.
Yeah.
I can't. Like when I go live,
Yeah.
I could do readings for like say 45 minutes, free readings.
Right.
And at the end, there's 2,000 comments in the chat room, which is tremendous.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after the show, I'll get like 3 or 4. You're this. How dare you not answer my thing?
You can't
I'm like,
please
there was
everybody.
2,500 comments. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
guys-
goes by so fast.
You
you know,
can't
yeah.
please
I
everyone.
try. I do the best I can, and I'm doing it for free on
Right.
Facebook.
Exactly.
You know,
And people don't see that he does. And if he sees something in like in one of the questions that somebody asks, he'll even say to them, "Contact me after the show." So
Yeah.
because maybe I want to tell you some personal information that I don't
Yes.
necessarily think that should be aired.
Right.
You know,
Which is awesome.
a lot of people don't know that or see that about him, or that he'll do readings for people that don't necessarily have the money. And not that it is a lot of money, but
Right.
even so, if
Right. Of
they
course.
don't, and he'll tell them to give me a cup of coffee.
I tell them,
Nice.
buy me a cup of coffee, or I tell them,
Yeah.
if it's FaceTime, which it
Yeah.
is now, write something nice about me on Facebook.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I'll help you.
karma. It's good
I'll
karma.
help you.
Yeah.
You got to give to get sometimes. You
Absolutely.
can't always be take.
Yeah.
Givers have to set limits because takers never do. You know that
I love
saying?
that. I love that.
It's a fact.
I love it. Well, tell everybody, because our episode is just about over, but tell everybody how they can reach you.
Facebook is the easiest way. Chris George. You'll see a picture of myself in Diggity. You could also follow me on Facebook at Psychic Medium Chris George. That's my fan page. On TikTok, I'm Psychic Chris George. You can follow me there. Those are the best ways to get me.
All right. Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. And if you want to go to your haunted
Just contact me.
Hotel, yes.
There are 26 openings. That's
I'm
it.
going.
You're
I'm
in.
going. So if you want to come with me, everybody, you better
Yeah.
It
sign
is a
up.
fun time. You can come by yourself. Couples
I'm going
can
by
come.
myself.
Girls trip. I'm telling you, just a whole bunch of
She
people.
has about 5 girlfriends from Staten Island. They come every trip.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's a
And
lot of
it's
fun.
it's a lot of fun.
I'll be number 6.
Yeah.
There you go. And they're going to love you.
Oh, yeah,
actually, some of them
absolutely.
met you already.
Oh, awesome. Well, okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Oh, then we're going to have a blast.
I know we are.
Well, thank you both for being on the show.
It was
Thank
my
you for
pleasure.
sharing your story. It's incredible. I wish
Thank you for having us on.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Oh, it's truly.
love
I've been
your
wanting you
show.
on for a while. It's truly my pleasure.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best success with your talk show.
Thank you.
And yes, and all of
Likewise.
your.
Well, I'll make a prediction. This is just the beginning for
Okay.
you. This is just a start.
Oh, I love it.
This
Oh,
is
I love that.
Right
I do
now, I
too.
think you're doing fantastic, but this is small potatoes.
Wow.
There's much bigger things coming for you in this genre.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're gonna be just fine.
Oh, I love it.
I love it too. Thank you. Mwah.
You're
See,
welcome.
that's all I want. One of those little perks, right? I don't get that.
That was a really nice perk, and I
know,
love that.
I
That was
love
great.
it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. You want one?
Go ahead.
You got a great boyfriend.
Oh, goodness.
No, that wasn't a good one.
And he says it goes to my head. Really? You heard that, people.
Well, I'm going to finish with my final thoughts.
Okay.
So, my final thoughts. Just embrace the you that you are, the beautiful you that you are. Accept yourself for who you are. Everybody has something special about them. Psychic medium Chris George denied his special gifts in the beginning, and he finally embraced them, and look where he is today. So, just be you. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed. I know you enjoyed. I enjoyed. Check out Psychic Medium Chris George. Go get a reading. Go take a class. Come to that haunted hotel. I will be there. Now remember, comment, like, and share if you want to win this book. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Live your life like a dreamer.